The 7-star TYRANITAR Tera raid event is now live in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In today's video, we're going to cover all of the details as well as the best Pokemon to solo this with in your game. So running for its first time out from the 28th until the 30th of March, we'll see TYRANITAR in Scarlet and Violet. To access this in your game, make sure you come to your menu screen and you are online. Come to your Poke Portal. In here, hit the mystery gift section and then check Poke Portal news. This will update all of your dens in Paldea so that 7-star Tera raid will appear on your map. So the build that we're featuring in today's video is going to be Torterra, one that we featured earlier on in the week in our preview TYRANITAR video. It's going to have the Dark Terrestrialization, going to have the Shell Bell as its held item for a line of recovery in the raid, and it's going to be level 100 and all its IVs are going to be hyper trained. The moveset is going to be Protect, Sword Stance, Iron Defense, and Crunch. And the EV spread is going to be 252 EVs in attack and defense, with the remainder put into HP and an Adamant Nature. And its most important thing in this raid build is going to be that Shell Armor ability. That's going to prevent any critical hits from landing throughout when you're taking on TYRANITAR. The build will be down in the description as always, and we'll jump into the raid now to show you how easy you can take down this 7-star Pokemon. So when you come into the raid against TYRANITAR on turn 0, you're going to see the Sandstream ability activated. It doesn't have its hidden ability like previous 7-star Tera raid Pokemon, and it'll follow this up with a Focus Energy. Now the big important thing when you come into the raid is identifying that you have an Intimidator on your side of the field. It's going to make sure that it helps nullify those Dragon Dances and helps you take attacks later on in this raid to allow the setup to cut through it. Turn 1, we're going to lock in with a Crunch. Now, if you don't have an Intimidator on your side of the field, I would suggest restarting the raid and coming back in until you do have one. Something like Taurus, Arcanine, Staraptor are all good choices in the raid. Now, turn 2, we're going to lock in with another Crunch. Basically, at this stage of the raid, we're chasing down the point where the raid timer hits 85%. It nullifies stats and abilities on our side of the field. I'll only do that once throughout the raid, and after that point we're going to be able to start setting up to get through this TYRANITAR. So third and final Crunch, that'll mean that we're going to be able to Terrestrialize as and when we want after this stage, and hopefully the raid timer now will tick over to that 85% of remaining time, and we'll see that notification pop up, because this is a really important part of the raid. We do have time to get an attack off. Obviously you can go for it here, but I would suggest almost waiting for this notification to pop up before we do anything else, because now we're locking in with a Protect, because we don't have that Shell Armor active this next turn, and we want to just get through this turn without taking any unnecessary damage. Critical hit here would put us in a bit of a precarious position. So there we go, our Shell Armor is active again, and now we can go for an Iron Defense. I would suggest probably Terrestrializing this turn. We are probably going to see the TYRANITAR set up the shield in the meantime, as well as nullifying its stats on its side of the field. So those stat drops that it's taken from the Intimidate are probably gone. Now we want to get an Iron Defense setup. So Terrestrialize if you've got access to it here, and then Iron Defense along with it. This is just going to mean that we're taking not very effective damage from a Crunch if that is what the TYRANITAR has chosen. And it'll also allow us to get this Iron Defense up without taking too much damage. Essentially, after this point, we're going to be going for 3 Sword Stances. We want to get our attack stat to +6, so we can do as maximum amount of damage as possible against this TYRANITAR. And most of the time, you can go for 2 Iron Defenses here. 2 Iron Defenses will put your defense to +4, and it will mean that you're going to really be able to take attacks a lot better. If you've got something like double Intimidate on your side of the field, I think the second Iron Defense isn't necessary, but just for the case in this raid, I will just show you 2 Iron Defenses is what I would suggest at this stage. It will slow you down slightly, but it will mean that you're going to be able to get these 3 Sword Dances set up quite comfortably. You're not going to worry so much about these 2 Dragon Dances that TYRANITAR is going to set up. The raid timer is still in a pretty positive position right now, and what we want to concentrate on next is going for those 3 Sword Dances, because then we're going to be in a position to do some nice damage to this TYRANITAR, get closer to breaking that shield as well. So go for another one. This will take us to +4 in our attack. Stone Edges are coming out, and you can see the damage is still pretty significant even after we're +4 defense. So this is why I suggest, unless you've got 2 Intimidators on your side of the field and they're constantly cycling in and out, I would suggest those 2 Iron Defenses are definitely necessary here. Say if your health is getting lower at any stage, just lock in with a crunch, get some damage on the field, get some health back before you're able to get that third and final sword stance activated. But at the same time, you're chipping away at the Tyranitar, and only go for that third and final sword stance when you're in a comfortable position to do so. You can see we're pretty close to the wire here. You want to be just making sure that you're doing this so you're not getting knocked out from anything unnecessary. You don't want to lose your terrestrialization at this point. It'll mean the raid is kind of over there and then. So I would say we're in a pretty comfortable position to get this final sword stance up now. Do take another Stone Edge. Is going to take us still pretty low, but I think another one will still be able to tank as we put attack to +6. I'll just give you an overview of our stats: +4, +6 in our stats, and we can start throwing out these crunches now, and we can see that we are just about able. You'll be able to see without that second iron defense, I don't think we'd be in this position to be able to take these attacks. So it's quite imperative, if you don't have an intimidator like Staraptor that's going to cycle in and out of the field so frequently, because the Taurus isn't going to be going off the field as much as something like a Staraptor or an Arcanine. So you're not going to get that Intimidate dropping as frequently in this match. But you can see here, we are slowly but surely cutting through this Tyranitar. But at this stage, all we're doing now is locking in with the crunches. And the nice thing about crunches does have a secondary effect to lower the defense on the target Pokemon. So if you do get any of those defense drops, it is going to speed up the raid quite significantly for you. This next crunch should be enough. Might just miss breaking the shield, but no, there we go, we do break the shield. You've got to keep an eye on the Tyranitar as well, just to see if any of those defense drops come into play. If they do, like I say, it will speed up your damage output, and now we can close this out pretty comfortably. We're in a good healthy position. But like I say, it's just about getting those 2 iron defenses off when you're in the position to. I wouldn't just go for one, but you can do if you've got decent partnering support, and it just allows you to get through this raid a little bit more securely. And I think the Torterra is definitely the most consistent build out there. I think when you're considering that you still need an Intimidator alongside you to really do this effectively, it does go to show how tough this Tyranitar raid is in all actual effect, because there isn't many Pokemon that can come into it and be quite as effective. I think if you are using something like Crocodile or Crawdon, even that we featured in our preview video, you've got to be quite lucky with the RNG most of the time, which is fine if you're only coming in to do the Tyranitar on a one-off and you only want to grab it, collect it have it for your collection in game. But if you're wanting to farm through, I think for the high cost items this weekend, the Torterra is definitely your choice. Of course, the Tyrants are going to be able to be caught in any ball that you want. Caught mine in a heavy ball. Let me know what you are getting yours in. Then you're going to get the high cost items. Herba Mystic has a 3% chance to drop, level up candies, and all the other good stuff that you're going to get with these raids. So you can farm it over the weekend when it is running. The Torterra isn't the fastest, but it is pretty consistent, just following the guide that we've got here. And you can run through in about 7 minutes, so it's not terrible. And if you want to spawn it onto your map once again, open up your map, come to your home menu, and then come down to system settings, and then into system. Come down into date and time. Make sure your synchronized clock for the internet is off. Click into date and time options. Toggle through these. Don't change anything. Just hit OK and back into your game. All your dens will respawn, and then you'll be able to locate that 7-star Terra den on your map. Head over to it and rinse and repeat. If you found the build in today's video useful, please consider dropping a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel as well to stay up to date with all of these sorts of videos, as well as all of our other Pokemon content. If I do come across another faster solo build for this 7-star Tyranitar for farming the high cost items while it's running over this weekend and next, I will drop it on the channel as soon as possible, so keep an eye out for that one. Of course, as well, if you've got your own builds, do leave them down in the comment section below to help others in the community. And we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in, friends. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in another one very soon. Take care and bye-bye.